show. So, as you know, over the past decade, women in sports have grown. The amount of eyes on women's football, in particular, has shot up. So, today we will be discussing the growth of women in football, the growth of women in sports in general, and overall lifestyle as a woman in sports. We'll also be looking at how the Black Queens are faring as they prepare for the Women's African Cup in Morocco sometime this year, probably in June. Plus, the Black Princesses, they are resuming campaign on Monday. So, as time goes on the show, my guest will be Amy Fynn-Thompson. She is the chairperson of the Western Region Women's Football Committee, and Madam Evelyn Nsiah-Asare. She is the CEO of Hazake's Ladies. In fact, Hazake's Ladies are topping number one on the Women's Ghana Premier League at the moment. We'll also be having representatives from the Africa Tennis Connect. They are celebrating the Women's Day in a big way on the street tennis program. So just sit back, relax. I do have a packed show lined up for you. But before we get into all the girly stuff, I'm just gonna allow a gentleman come on the show. So I'm gonna call on Mr. Echo, who he is the sports editor for Team Talk. He will be giving us some tidbits on football across the world, football, sports, entertainment, the Champions League, you name it. So he is on limited time here today because it's all about women. So welcome to the show, Mr. Echo.
All right, thank you, Laura, and I'm excited to be on. I'm excited to be on the show this morning. In fact, is a
Yeah, hello. So, of course, I know you are excited to be on the show this morning. We are giving you limited time because it is indeed the Women's Day edition of the show, but we'll be giving you that grace to give us some tidbits on the world of sports, give us some highlights, give us some gist on what is exactly going on in football and sports in general.
right. Sure. It is said the strength of a woman is not really measured by the impact that all her hardships in life has had on her, but the strength of a woman is measured by the extent of her refusal to allow these hardships to dictate to her and who she becomes eventually.
Indeed.
So yes, I want to say happy International Women's Day to all our women, and time for me to just give you a wrap of what is happening in the world of sports, and then I leave the rest for you. Call it the ladies' invasion of Team Talk for today. Right, let me start with Black Stars forward Antoine Semenyo, who believes that Michael Essien is the greatest Ghanaian to ever play in the English Premier League. Now, Essien enjoyed a long-lasting career in England with Chelsea, where he went on to become the first Ghanaian to win the English top flight. Now, whilst others like Tony Yeboah, Sule Muntari, Andre Ayew, Jordan Ayew have all had their turns in the Premier League, Semenyo believes no one comes to the levels at which Michael Essien played in the English Premier League. Now, if you are listening to Team Talk this morning, you might want to share your thoughts with us, whether you agree or disagree. What do you make of this? You can send us WhatsApp onto 020-000995, and then I'm sure Laura will do justice to all of your thoughts. Who do you think is the greatest Ghanaian footballer to have played in the English Premier League? We've had the likes of Tony Yeboah, Sule Muntari, Dede Ayew, Jordan, but for Semenyo, he thinks that it has to be Michael Essien. All right, remember, Essien enjoyed a great time in the Premier League with Chelsea. Played 168 times, scored 17 and assisted 10 times, and also won the Premier League twice in 2006 and then in 2010. Well, the Ghana Premier League returns today and in fact tomorrow, and the head coach of Midiama is Ibrahim Tanko. He says he's happy football is coming back. The league has been halted since February after Francis Frimpong Poli was murdered during a Week 19 clash between Asante Kotoko and Nsiah-Asare. The man was laid to rest on Thursday, March 6th at the Heroes Park at the Babaya Sports Stadium in Kumasi. So a quick run through the fixtures for the match day 23 GPL. Today, we have Hearts of Oak against Young Apostles at the University of Ghana Stadium. And then tomorrow, there's Asante Kotoko against Legon Cities at the Babaya Sports Stadium. Karela United will play Baseke Holy Stars at the Aliyu Mahama Sports Stadium. Mediama at the TNA Park will play Bechem United. Nations FC will be away to Gold Stars at the Bibiani Duns Park. Heart of Lions will be away to Vision FC at the Ni Eje Krakuda Second Sports Complex. And then we have Brekum Chelsea welcoming Accra Lions to the Nana Ajibambedu Park. Dreams FC will play Adriana Stars at the Tuba AstroTurf. And then there's a game on Monday between Nsiah-Asare and Samatex at the Bibiani Dance Park. So that's for the Ghana Premier League match week 23 fixtures. Meanwhile, the GFA has approved newly enhanced match day safety and security protocols for the various competitions to curb hooliganism. Now, still with the FA, the Ghana Police leadership, under the instruction of the IGP, they have fulfilled its promise to appoint a dedicated senior officer in each region to be responsible for sports policing. The role termed as Regional Sports Security Officer will be responsible for the overall coordinating and operations of match day security for all GFA sanctioned competitions, and I'm sure it's a good thing.
It is a good thing
to ensure that there's we curb hooliganism and all of that. Knowing what happened in Nsiah-Asare some weeks ago, it's important that we take such actions to ensure that we nip those.
So before I let you wrap up on your tidbits, let's start from the top again on Antoine Semenyo's assertion that Michael Essien. Now, mind you, I am a staunch Chelsea fan.
Okay.
I do believe Michael Essien, alongside some other African players, built that love for Chelsea in me over the years. But I think that is quite a bold assertion. Of course, he has his own opinions and he's entitled to them. However, that is quite bold. Of all time in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's the greatest Ghanaian player to have played in the English Premier League. And I don't know, who am I to dispute him? Like you said, that's his opinion. That's why I want our listeners to also share their opinions with us, and tell us whether they agree or disagree with Semenyo.
Of course.
Yes. Tony Yeboah was phenomenal in the Premier League.
Yes.
Suleiman Tari was awesome. Dede Ayew was super. Jordan Ayew has had his own
fair share of greatness in the Premier League.
In the Premier League, and Michael Essien, of course, also had some. But for him, he thinks that it's Michael Essien.
Wow.
Well, a WhatsApp line.
It's there. So the WhatsApp number is 020-00-00995. I'll take that again. 020-00-00995. We're also live on all our socials: Facebook, X, TikTok, and Instagram on Asaase 99.5. Team Talk is also live in Tamale on 99.7, Cape Coast on 100.5, and Kumasi on 98.5 FM. So I'll take that again. Team Talk. We're also live in Tamale on 99.7 FM, in Cape Coast on 100.5 FM, and in Kumasi on 98.5 FM. We'll get back into the resumption of the Ghana Premier League and the venues. I was quite excited to see that the University of Ghana Stadium was approved for Accra House of Oak home games, but now that the FA is looking to ban that venue, that might affect some some patronage, because I saw an increase in fans
spectatorship.
Yes, in spectatorship at the stadium over this past few weeks that Accra House of Oak has played there. But now that the FA is looking to ban it, well, that might affect the club. But they are going to be playing Young Apostles this weekend over there. So we'll be keeping our fingers crossed to see how it goes.
Yes. Okay, from the GPL, let me quickly talk about the MTN FA Cup also, and Division 1 League side True Democracy. They will be hoping to continue their fairy tale journey with a tricky quarter-final tie to look forward to. Now, True Democracy will have to face one of Asante Kotoko second 11 wise in the last 8, with the two teams set to square off in an outstanding game from the round of 16. So the Division 1 League side, they beat Nanwa on penalties to seal a quarter-final spot. In other games, Berekum Chelsea, who erased, who actually went past Norton City, will come up against fellow Premier League rivals Bechem United. Bechem were 3-4 winners or 4-3 winners over Bechem, Tichim and Liberty Youth in the previous round. Karela will also be looking to avoid an upset against lower tier side Golden Kick when the two teams face off in the quarterfinals. So remember, Golden Kick recorded a shocking penalty shootout win over Heart of Oak in their last outing in the competition. And in an all Division 1 league affair, Xtra Divisa, they host Park Academy. And remember, the quarterfinal games will be played on the weekend of March 28 to 31, while the outstanding round of 16 fixtures will be played on March 12. So that's for the MTN FA Cup. Now, this week, you know this guy, former England defender Joey Barton.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he has also ignited a firestorm of controversy.
Yes.
With his latest remark on Jamie Carragher as a recent comment on the African Cup of Nations.
Yes,
now, speaking on the Common Sense podcast, the outspoken former England international dropped a bombshell. Now, he asserted that the African continent has failed to produce a defender capable of matching the caliber of Jamie Carragher. Now, Barton's comments were a thinly veiled attempt to defend his fellow countryman. You know, Carragher himself came under intense scrutiny for his dismissive remarks about the Cup of Nations.
Yes.
Downplaying the tournament and its significance. Later on, he backtracked, acknowledging his words were clumsy and ill-chosen. Only for this guy, Joey Barton. Who? Joey Barton. Another
Can we
overhyped player.
Yes.
Asking that.
I mean, he has, in fact, this whole controversy.
Somebody should tell him which African player or defender
can match up to
Jamie
I mean,
Carragher.
I could name 20 on the spot.
Jamie Carragher.
In my sleep. I could name 20 on the spot over the decades. And I felt like that was a very uncalled for comment coming in from his side. Just trying to dispute the quality of the Africa Cup of Nations.
I think he just wants to be relevant. I mean, he wants attention. He wants to trend.
Yeah.
And well, we don't need to give him attention because he himself was no better footballer. Joey Barton himself was no better footballer. So he can talk about Jamie Carragher.
They are all in the mid-section, so they should remain in the mediocre section of football.
Jamie Carragher.
How?
My friend there is a Liverpool fan. He doesn't want to hear about Jamie Carragher. Well, let's go to Equatorial Guinea. Their record goal scorer is Emilio Nsue. He has been officially cleared to play for the country by FIFA more than a decade after the former Spain Youth International made his senior debut for the African nation. There was widespread surprise in May last year when FIFA handed Nsue, who is now 35, a 6-month ban, deeming him ineligible to play in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Now, at the time, FIFA said it was comfortably satisfied that Nsue, who won the Golden Boot at last year's Cup of Nations, had never received clearance to formalize his switch from Spain. But that changed on Wednesday when FIFA approved the second request by Equatorial Guinea's Football Federation 12 years after its first attempt.
What do you think about that? I mean, at his age now, how impactful do you think he can be?
He's always been impactful for the for his team, the Equatorial Guineans, and for me, he holds the aces when it comes to their quest to want to qualify for the World Cup. And now they are looking to have their points that was deducted returned.
Okay.
Yes, because they are they are, you know, they have a population of about 2 million.
Yes.
And they are looking to go for their maiden World Cup.
Yes.
They were second in Group H with 9 points from 4 games.
Yeah.
And then they had to drop to second bottom in that group, led by Tunisia. So I don't know what will happen now that he's been reinstated, whether the points will be returned to them. It will be very interesting to see what happens from now till whenever FIFA decides to take that decision. But I think that they deserve to be given their points so that the competition will be very keen again. He's set to feature in their qualifiers at home to Sao Tome and Principe and away to Namibia.
That should be interesting. That should be an interesting game.
Yeah. And Samuel Eto'o has also won the rights to be included on the list of candidates for the Confederation of African Football's elective Congress next week after initially being ruled out of the contest. The Court of Arbitration for Sports has upheld an appeal by him against his exclusion from CAF Executive Committee elections in Cairo next Wednesday. So
yes, that should be interesting. So good news for Samuel Eto'o. I was reading more about that, and I was trying to understand, CAS, or the Court of Arbitration for Sports, their reasons for reinstating him. But I think he put up a good fight. And on Wednesday in Cairo, we should have a look at what he offers to the CAF Executive Committee.
There's this Manchester United fan. His name is Frank Elliott.
Okay.
He has vowed not to cut his hair until the team wins 5 consecutive matches.
I think he's going to turn into Bob Marley very soon. In fact,
he started that challenge in October of 2024.
Okay.
Expecting it to last only a few months. But after 152 days, the club's poor form under Ruben Amorim has left him regretting that decision. Now, he's admitted he initially considered setting the streak at 3 games, but thought it would be too easy, only to realize 5 wins in a row will be much harder than expected. Now, his social media channel, the United Strand, has gained massive traction with over 60,000 Instagram followers and millions of views. Now, while the challenge has brought him unexpected fame, he insists the main goal was to simply bring some humor to United's ongoing misery.
Emphasis on the ongoing misery, and apologies in advance to any Manchester United fan.
I am a Manchester United fan.
I'm sorry. Then I just have to tell you, you guys are in terrible form.
Yeah, we know. We don't need to be told. Thank you very much.
In fact, your entire team needs to be dissolved. You need to buy in more players.
Don't worry.
You need, in fact, have you seen
times and seasons?
That, your guy has moved to Aston Villa and now he's played in the Champions League.
Yes. He's played in the Champions League with United before, so it's no news.
But
Marcus Rashford has played in the Champions League at United for lots of times.
But are you getting my point? Is now? I mean, he
are not moved.
Been. Oh, you're not moved.
No.
Oh, so what is Amorim doing?
He'll come good.
United fans.
Well,
all the best to you.
Fixtures for the Premier League this weekend: Nottingham Forest will be at home to Man City. Brighton welcome Fulham. Ipswich will be away to Crystal Palace. There's Liverpool against Southampton. Brentford, Aston Villa, and then Wolves, Everton. Liverpool, Southampton, they're cool chop. Then tomorrow there's Chelsea, Leicester City, Tottenham against Bournemouth, and then the big match taking center stage this weekend comes from Old Trafford. United take on Arsenal. It has a bit of extra spice on the fixture. Following United's FA Cup penalty shootout victory at the Emirates earlier in the season, back in January. So the pressure is actually on Mikel Arteta's side.
Yes.
Because anything but a win will surely spell the end of any Premier League title ambitions for Arsenal. And that's non-negotiable.
I mean, Arsenal.
Once they lose to Man United at Old Trafford, which is unlikely, their title challenge is effectively over, and Liverpool will be cruising to the title. Monday night, there's West Ham, Newcastle. That's it for the English Premier League. The NBA, Nikola Jokic has become the first player in the history of the NBA to register a triple-double of at least 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists in a game as the Denver Nuggets beat the Phoenix Suns 149 to 141 in overtime. Now, the Serb, who is 30, scored 31 points, made 21 rebounds, and had 22 assists in that match, and was voted the league's most valuable player last season, the third time he has won that award. In the Eastern Conference, the leaders, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have already confirmed their playoff spot, they beat the Charlotte Hornets 118 to 117. That was very, very close for their 13th straight victory. In boxing, welterweight Lauren Price easily outpointed Natasha Jonas to settle their domestic rivalry and become a unified world champion in a changing of the guards moment for women's boxing at the Royal Albert Hall. The 30-year-old speed, sharpness, and youthfulness was too much for the veteran Jonas, who struggled with her timing over 10 rounds in the main event of an all-female card in London. Finally, in Formula One, the 2025 Formula One season begins with a double header, starting with the Australian Grand Prix at Albert Park in Melbourne on March 16, before heading to Shanghai the following week for the Chinese Grand Prix on March 23. And then the Shanghai International Circuit also hosts the first F1 sprint of 2025 on March 22. Now, US car giant or General Motors has had its Formula One entry for the 2026 season formally approved. Now, it will name the new team after its luxury Cadillac brand. The decision to approve GM's bid comes just over 2 months after the company reached an agreement in principle with F1 to enter the sport next year. F1 had previously rejected a bid from the US team Andretti, which was linked to Cadillac, but the greater commitment of GM, a new proposal put forward later in the year, has convinced F1 to admit Cadillac onto the F1 season 2026. So that's a wrap of the major sporting news.
Oh, thank you so much, Echo.
I've been an intruder in the all-women affair this morning.
You have, but it's been great having you. It's been great having you give us this tidbit and this information. So that was Echo, our sports editor, just giving us some information on sports across the globe. So we had NBA, we had football, we had Formula One. So it's still Team Talk on Asaase Radio 99.5. So let's go on a quick break. We will be back soon.
Little eyes a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. A new world record for Usain Bolt. Little Messi! Oh my goodness! Little Messi! Superhuman! Azuma! Michael Duncan against George Owu, and Michael Duncan scores. Hearts are the champions of the Confederations Cup, and Michael Duncan scores. Hearts are the champions of the Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy. I have wrestled with an alligator. I've murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. A new world record for Usain Bolt. Little Messi! Oh my goodness! Little Messi! Superhuman! Azuma! Michael Duncan against George Owu, and Michael Duncan scores. Hearts are the champions of the Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy. I have wrestled with an alligator. I've murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. A new world record for Usain Bolt. Little Messi! Oh my goodness! Little Messi! Superhuman! Azuma! Michael Duncan against George Owu, and the champions of the Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy. I have wrestled with an alligator. I've murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. A new world record for Usain Bolt. Little Messi! Oh my goodness! Little Messi! Superhuman! Azuma!
All right, so you're welcome back from that break, and it's still Team Talk on the International Women's Day edition of the show. My name is Alexis Laura. So we have our first guest on the line. She will be joining us via Zoom today. So if you are logged in via social media, you can tell that she will be live with us via Zoom. So she is the CEO of Asaase Ladies, Madame Evelyn Nsiah-Asare. Good morning and welcome to Team Talk.
Good morning, sweetheart.
It's great to have you and congratulations. I see Asaase Ladies are sitting pretty at the top of the table in the Women's Ghana Premier League.
Thank you, dear.
All right, so for today's discussion, we will be talking about how women's sports have grown over the decades, and you as an administrator and someone who has pushed and advocated for women's football in Ghana, how has the journey been so far?
Thank you. And let me wish all women who are trying their best so that they will lift the image of sports in Ghana a happy International Women's Day. It has not been easy because you know that how men perceive women is different.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you get yourself into a male-dominated area, people feel that you might have done something. They are not looking at your hard work. They are looking at somebody helping you. And I don't want to mention that. I guess you know what I'm driving at.
I do.
Okay. So it is very difficult to find yourself in a male-dominated area, wanting to do better, wanting to do well. So it has not been easy, women lifting the image of sporting activities in Ghana. Gone are the days, if you're a woman and you want to become a footballer, the things that you will hear, it will not even encourage you for you to give your best, because people are saying that if you're a woman and you involve yourself in footballing, athletics, basketball, or any of the disciplines that I have mentioned, it's rather you become a tomboy, you not give birth, you look like a male. And these are all the things that we have gone through to become who we are today. So I want to once again congratulate all women who have defined all these issues to just forge ahead to become coaches, to become administrators, referees, and other staff. So it has not been easy. The challenges are so much that sometimes you even want to leave. But I always tell my players that now football has become one of the careers that when you go to school and they ask you what do you want to do in the near future, you can write about. So we have to be in it and then look for the things that will help us to be able to do the work well, to do the work and go forward. We don't want to play as a second fiddle to the men. In as much as I am saying this, I am not also insinuating that we should disrespect our husbands, our brothers, our fathers, or anything of that sort. But at least we need to fight for what is due us.
Thank you, Evelyn, and I appreciate your last comment on the respect
Hello?
part. Yes. Hi, Evelyn. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I appreciate your comment on, the whole respect part, because the stereotypes about women in football has been there and it's still prevalent in our society. People arguing on the respect status, the salaries status, the same, resources that are being put into either women's football and men's football. So I just want you to educate us on how we can increase women in football, in coaching, in refereeing, in football administration. How can we curb these stereotypes?
All right. Thank you very much. You see, what I want our women to know, and then even our husbands to also note, is that a celebration of women in sports is not something that we have to be saying with our mouths. It is a global day celebrating women's achievements. And it means that we have done something that we have achieved something that people need to recognize that. That is the reason why there is a day set aside to at least appreciate the work of women. It is highlights the need for the equality, the gender disparities that we are going through. If you want to become a football administrator, the things that you might hear around such things will even deter you from entering. But some of us, we have been there for almost 25 years. It has not been easy. But today being International Women's Day, I want to just encourage every young person who want to enter into football. Someone told me a few days ago that if your family members want to kill you early, they will just push you so that you invest in football.
Really?
I want to tell the person that I don't agree with that assertion with him. And for that matter, it is a career that anybody at all can enter and be paid well. It is only in Ghana that we have two products, equal products. We have the Black Stars, we have the Black Queens. It's the same 11 players who stand on the field to play a game. But when it comes to winning bonus, the men, the Black Stars, will receive 100,000 as their appearance fee, and the Black Queens will not receive anything. It is time our football people, it is time the big men in this industry sit up to have a stakeholder engagement with all the people who are involved in making sure that football is developed in Ghana. It's the same 90 minutes. It's the same energy that we put in. You see, those people who coach women, my dear, I can tell you for a fact that handling women national teams are so difficult than the men. It is so difficult than the men. In as much as men can, they can harbor something, even if they have issue with you, they can keep it and go and play their game. But women, we were created differently. Women were created differently. They might have an issue with you. And if you don't take care, they will not even give you a pass on the field for you to score.
Wow.
Yes. That is the product we are dealing with. So if a woman or a man can, define all these things and say, okay, I will coach the team, and what the person is requiring to be able to make his work or his or her work successful, we don't get it, then it is sad. It is so sad. Women were created special.
Yes, indeed.
And so, as somebody said, the women do not even understand themselves. Because sometimes the way we behave, it is ununderstandable. So I want to say that we have a long way to go as far as the development of sports in women's sector is concerned. We have to take it as a project and then try to bring everybody together so that we can really research into what we can do to develop women administrators in football, in basketball. How many of the federations are headed by women? We can do at least a research here. I don't know if somebody is listening to us. The person can give this the answers to us.
Yes, you can.
I don't know how many of the federations. We have about 20 federations in Ghana. How many of them? But when you talk of Ghana football, you can easily recollect Orake Tokreku.
Yes.
You can easily talk about rugby. A man is there. Table tennis, a man is there. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we not giving the opportunity to the women to also advance the development of sports so that we can all come onto the same table? But here is that you see that the women are being suppressed. Sometimes we just behave as if we are doing gender diversity or gender balance, but it's never true. They can give you a representative over there, but they will never ever allow the person to work. They will never ever allow the resources that has to go to the woman for the woman to be able to do her work well to go there. That is the problem we are talking about. We are not saying that if the person doesn't merit that position, give it to her because the person is a woman. No. We are saying that those who, qualify for such positions, the resources that accompany that.
Sorry to cut you in, madam, but I just want to talk about the qualification aspect. If the education, the motivation is not there, how can we actually find women in the field that are qualified to actually represent
Yes,
women?
I will come there. That has to do with the grassroots, and that has to do with how we can bring everybody together. But I'm talking about those who qualified for now.
Okay.
Because when you look at the affirmative action bill, all that women are asking for is that give us opportunity.
Yes.
And this opportunity that we are talking about, we are not talking in terms of because we are women, give us the opportunity. No, because we are women and we also qualified to be in that position. That is what we are talking about. But now, when you go through the affirmative action bill or the act, I understand the former president passed it to become a law last year, September or so.
Yes.
And this bill started from the 90s. It has been coming to parliament, they withdraw, they bring them, and then now it is being passed. How many of the people within the private sector have we gone there to see that the women who are working there, whatever is due them, is being given to them? That is what I am talking about, my dear.
Okay.
But trying to bring the women so that they'll be able to do something is also another discussion. But now we have women who equally qualified, like our men. What are we doing to those women? We are not asking for much. We are asking that if the woman is due that position, give that position to the woman, and then resource the woman, empower the woman. I was making an argument yesterday that I think so many people do not agree with me. And yes, it's opinion, and they can also have their opinions. All that I was saying yesterday is that, please, we have qualified women coaches in Ghana. So if Nora is gone, we can bring another woman who will be able to coach Black Queens.
This is very controversial.
For instance, when Mercy Tego was a coach, she was not being paid, my dear, but the Black Stars coach was being paid. And somebody who is not being motivated to do her work well, how do you judge the person? But if we have a case that the money that the Black Stars coach is receiving is equal to what the Black Queens coach is also receiving, they are all being given equal resources. They are all being empowered. When you have given all these to the person is not able to perform. That is when you can make a case. But not when you are not paying the person. The person is working. The person, you see, in football in Ghana, some of us, we take it as our corporate social responsibilities.
Yeah.
We take it that we want to help the girls so that at least they can also get a place to go in the near future. That is the reason why it has kept us in this industry, some of us, for the past 25 years. Please, you check the national teams, the formation of the management committee members of the national teams. When we finish, please check. How many women do you find there in the men's teams? We have the Black Stars, we have the under-23 Black Meteors, we have under-22. Go and check if you can see women within that formation of the management committee. And come and see what we have in the Black Queens, the under-17, the maidens, and the Black Princesses.
Yeah.
We are not saying that don't involve men in women football, but all that we are asking for is equal opportunities, equal representation, and then empower us to be able to do this work and do it well. For all you know, a woman could have done better at the GFA than the previous president who have come. In fact, I stand to be corrected, but that is what I feel.
These are bold
How
assertions.
many women?
But sorry to cut you in, Madam Evelyn. I mean, these are very bold and controversial assertions that you're making, and it's going to be out there or it's actually out there on social media. We're live on social media. We are getting comments via our WhatsApp platform, and I just want to make sure that as you're making this bold assertions, there are some backups to it. So when it comes to the women's football, how can we be sure that these women can actually do the job? You're talking about the coaching of the Black Stars. We, of course, kudos to Messi Tego, who did an incredibly great job. But do you actually think that we can have women who are up to the task to be part of the technical team in the Black Stars? Candidly,
We can.
can you name
My
drop?
dear,
Can
we
you
can.
name drop some
Messi
people?
Tego can. Anita Oredu, that lady, I know her. She can do better. I'm not saying that we should, right now that I'm speaking, we should change the Black Stars coach and bring a woman. That is not what I'm saying. All that I'm saying is that let us empower them. But I tell you, I am looking for a day that a woman will coach Black Stars. I am looking for a day that opportunity will be given to the women to become assistant coaches of the Black Stars. If the men can be coaches for the women teams, how much more men also coaching the men teams? But right now, all that I'm asking for is that I would have wished that the man who is coaching Black Queens now is the assistant coach, and then rather Anita Oredu-Minta being the head coach, so that the man can help Anita to be the women that we all want in this country. My dear, in anything that we do as in women football, the men are leading, and that is what we don't want. Look at the formation of the ESCO. You are having about 12 or 11 men, and it's only one lady in there. Why? But when you look at the things that we are doing, even the men teams are 18. The Ghana Premier League men teams are 18. The Women Premier League members are 20. Let's do this analysis. Why can't the men have 5 representatives at the executive committee and the women cannot have 2 or 3? I don't get it.
All right, Madam
Is
Evelyn.
it not the same football that we are working about? If I share with you the budget of Asaase every weekend, you cry for us.
Oh,
Driving all the way from Takoradi to Accra, about 7 teams are in Greater Accra. So therefore, within the 18 matches that we play, we come to Accra almost 7 times. And look at the transportation. When you come from Takoradi, you cannot come today and you come and play your match and go. You need to sleep one night. After the match, you will sleep one night. So 2 nights. Have you thought of the accommodation that Asaase is paying at there? And at the end of the season, you have been given 60,000. If you are lucky and you win the league, they are saying 35,000. But that 35,000, are we being given the $35,000? In fact, it's time we speak the truth and be free. It's time we become bold as women. We are all human beings, the same blood. For the fact that I'm a woman doesn't make me somebody who it has to be added to someone. No, I have to stand on my own. I have to fight for my rights, because when we go to the university, they don't set different questions for the ladies and then the men's own.
true.
We are all answering the same questions. For that matter, when we come out and we are working, you shouldn't downplay what the women can do. We can work and work better.
True.
The executive committee, we are pleading. If we have 5 representatives from the Premier Division, that is men, why can't we have the same 5 from the Premier Division, women? The Division 1 have, I think, 3 representatives. And when you come to the region, we also have Division 1 at the region, and we don't have any representative in there. Is it, I don't want to blame the GFA people. I don't want to blame anybody who sat down to put this status together. But I am looking at FIFA. That FIFA says he is redefining what women football is. And I can tell you they are doing so well.
Yeah.
When you go to CAF, when you win the CAF Champions League, you are being given $600,000. And I think it is a step in the right direction, which on this day that we are celebrating women internationally, I want to say thank you to the CAF president for what he has been doing to uplift the image of women's football. My dear, $600,000 is not an easy money. When you get this money, you'll be able to do so many things. We are not able to pay our players because we don't have money. We have just put the girls together because we want them to have future. But the football administrators who are using our money, we don't get anything in return. Nothing. So today is International Women's Day. Mr. President, I want to use this opportunity to thank you so much. At least, my dear, for the first time, we are seeing a vice president who is a woman. And I want to plead, Mr. President, that give her the resources. I am not seeing her much. Because when President Akufo-Addo won 8 years ago, right from day one, every program you will see His Excellency former Vice President Dr. Bahomia being there as frontliner. We want to see Your Excellency, Madam Jane, to be up there so that we, all the women in Ghana, are looking up to this woman. We are so happy that we have,
Yes.
gotten somebody who is a woman, an educationist on top, a professor.
Yes,
In
indeed.
academia, my dear, if you become a professor, it is no means job to get there.
It is. It isn't.
This is something that you cannot sleep with anybody and you'll be given. As on quote, we have some of the men thinking that when you are in the midst of men and you are doing your work, people think that you have been sleeping with somebody. No, as a professor, you need to work to get your professorship. So, Madam, congratulations. But we believe that they are not going to use you as tokenism. No, we are not going to sit there to be used.
Sorry to cut you in. Sorry to cut you in, Madam Evelyn and Nsiah. Sorry to cut you in. I'll just like to please hold on for us. I'll just like to introduce our second guest on the show, Madam Amy Fynn-Thompson. She is the chairperson of the Western Region Women's Football Committee. Thank you, and you are welcome to the special Women's Day edition of Team Talk. So we're currently discussing the growth of women's sports in Ghana, how women have evolved over the years, and how we can increase women in coaching, referee, and sports administration. So if you're on the line, Madam Amy Fynn-Thompson, kindly just introduce yourself, and would like to wish you as well a happy International Women's Day right here on Team Talk.
Yes, my dear. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can.
Good. Good afternoon. And since we are all women and it's all women affairs, I want to extend my greetings to my fellow women all over who are listening to you, especially my big sis, Madam Evelyn Nsiah-Asare. It's a difficult task. I heard her speak a lot about what we can do. Sometimes it's sad. Let me put it that way. As a woman, personally, as a lady in the industry, I joined radio 26th of March 2005. So March 2005, 26 will be exactly 20 years. But sometimes, at a point in time, I wish I didn't join radio because some men feel they are men and you have to succumb to whatever they do. I remember in my line of duty, I slapped a colleague. I'm not proud of it, but I had to defend myself. So sometimes taking what my sister said, some people in quote think or feel as a woman, you need to do certain things to get what you want. Sometimes it's sad. Some of us struggle to get whatever we want and to achieve whatever we want to achieve. In football or in sport, I think some of us are not getting the needed support we need from our men. I was introduced into radio by a man. Until today, he's out of the country, but he's every single moment checking up what I do right, what he feels I should do, what he feels I did, it wasn't the right path I took and all that. But sometimes some of us who are not lucky to get people to defend us that much. So doing football or doing sport and merging it with specifically women's sports, I got into radio with a passion and with a motive. I will pick school sports and women's football over even Black Stars match. That is my way
Mm.
because I felt when I got into the industry, people weren't giving them that support. Yes, Madam Rosalina Moore, Madam Nsiah-Asare, and others were there. But that the content to me was on a low level. So I chose my path, and it gets to a point people will ask, "Ah, there is a Premier League match." I said, no, I'm going to watch women's football, and that is me today. With the position I even hold now, it will surprise you. It's a male dominated. Currently, we are five committee members. I'm the only lady in the chair. And it will surprise you the kind of comments you hear from men. Personally, I feel in this field, we are growing the game. Women football, Ghana Premier League, and even Division One league, that's the men.
Yeah.
The standard is not even that different from what the women are playing. Yes, you go to a women Division One match, a team will score like 13 nil. Not that it's not competitive, but because of the inability of the opponent to maybe get experienced players, to maybe get the required players to play, their registered players and all that, you get some score line of that nature.
Yeah.
But it will surprise you. Let me use Asaase Lady for example. I am the venue media officer for Asaase home match. You go to the park and a male person will tell you, the women play far better than the men. They should dissolve the men team.
Wow.
Not that they are, yes, not that they are downplaying the men, but because of performance. Asaase ladies, I will always say, they carve a neck for themselves. Everywhere they go, you see Asaase ladies, no matter what, even if they will lose a match, the standard of play is perfect. Going season in, season out without losing a match makes you prove to you that the team is good. But to prove my own big success, how many ladies are manning the technical team of Asaase ladies? Only two.
Wow.
I'll take you an example because the other lady due to work and other schedule is not available. It's not her fault. We the women, we feel we are not getting the needed encouragement we need. Just 2 weeks ago, I sent my chairman a message that, Sister Huma, I am tired. I want to go on leave. As a chairperson, you don't get the needed support you need to get.
Mm.
You will decide, okay, this is my program for the season. And even the club themselves, being manned by men, you that needed support that you need. So we are doing it out of passion, as Madam Evelyn said. Most of us are doing it out of passion. I always say, and I tell my men, women football doesn't put food on my table.
Mm.
It's my work that I do that puts food on my table. But sometimes, if you decide to back out, I remember some few months ago, I told Antona, I'm tired, I want to back out. And he was like, when you back out, who have you trained? And it's not my responsibility to train someone. When it comes to Western region, you won't get more than 20 ladies doing sports. That
Mm.
passion is not there.
That's true.
That passion is not there. And sometimes I always fight with Echo on the other side. You guys to pamper us. Those of us doing it. International Women's Day, pamper us.
Yes, and that
So,
that one is going out to Echo. But sorry to cut you in, Madam Amy Fynn. I just want to commend you. You are actually the first female sports presenter in Takoradi, and this is actually a question that's of a very personal nature. As a female sports journalist, you can imagine the number of hurdles we have had to pass through. I can speak for myself, some of the challenges I've had to endure as a woman in sports journalism, the insecurities, the fact that people may come at you that you don't actually know your stuff just because you are a woman. To other female sports journalists there, or to other young girls that are listening that want to take up sports or football journalism in general, what message would you give them?
I'm saying the focus. As I said, a male introduced me into it. When it comes to my station where I work, my men, to be honest, thumbs up to them. They pamper me. If I have a football match and I have to leave the studio by 2 o'clock, exactly 2 o'clock, you can go. But maybe a different station won't give you that opportunity. So as a young lady, wherever you are listening to me, first tell yourself this is what I want to do and go ahead and do it. Sorry to bring in this. When I decided to venture into sports, my mom didn't support me. In fact,
Mm.
I went through hell under the hands of my mother and my siblings because I had decided to do sports. She wanted me to venture into fashion. And I told her that "Look, I don't like it. I want sports. It was surprising for more than 5 years. My mother never spoke with me because
Wow.
I have chosen to do sports. The interesting thing is, I remember Nanya FC Okori United, that 31 mil. I was there. He called my brother to call me that he heard I was being harassed at the stadium. And that is some of the reasons why he didn't want me to venture into it. So if it's not late, I should back out. I said, no, I won't back out. This is what I want. Be focused, be motivated. As I said, the whole association wants to motivate you, but motivate yourself.
Mm.
Few weeks ago, I went for a division one match. I saw a player, most of the players in Chakwadi know me, they come to my house, they eat. I saw her and she was like, I've lost your number. Give me your number so that I check up on you as I used to do. My dear, to my surprise, the lady sent me 50 Ghana cedis. And I was like, I
Wow.
know you are not making it. You've not made it. So why did you send that money? And you know her response. You
No.
spent so much on us. If we can't give you more, this token would at least buy you credit.
Oh.
And I realized I was down. I was talking to a coach, a male coach, and he was like, the lady has said something. You see, sometimes it's not everything that we want people to appreciate us or every time you want people to appreciate us. But the little things we do, if you see someone there and the person appreciates you, it's even an encouragement. I've lived with so many people, footballers, I don't know their parents. But I felt this is what I want to do. So if I have a single room I'm staying and someone needs support, why not? Let her come and pay.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people feel if you are doing sports, you need to get something huge in return. Yes, we have another in Akanda says in I
Mm.
mean, saliva alone can't go about it. You need something to motivate. But if it's not coming, my dear, motivate yourself, encourage yourself, tell yourself you can do it. But to the men, yes, we are women, we understand you. Sometimes, my dear, some of the words some men will tell you, you wake up one day and decide, no, I won't do it again. Someone said something. Sorry, I'm saying it on air, but I have to say it to encourage others. You will always talk about women's football. If you feel you've done a lot for women's football, why is it that other people didn't travel with you till now?
Mm.
Someone also said, you feel you've done a lot for women's football. Stop doing women's football and go and give birth.
Hey.
Yes, a man. The funny thing is, we are
Yes,
just
that is
ladies.
the extra mile people go to disgrace those of us who are committed in developing the game. It's true.
And the sad thing is, when the person made that statement, I was on a sick bed. He didn't bother about the state I found myself in. He was my committee member. He made that statement, and someone who heard it told me, my dear, ignore him. Don't say because of that you are backing us. I said, no. If my family hears this, it's the height of it. So sometimes we ignore certain comments, but we are human. For a man who have players under you, female players under you, to tell a fellow lady, come on, pretend if I'm your sister, would you have said that? No, because she's your leader. She's doing women's football. She only won't allow you to meander your way through certain things. So she's your enemy. No. Today being International Women's Day, men have a rethink about we women. I know Echo very well, and Echo will tell you a lot about me. If I say no, nothing will change my mind. If I know what I'm saying is right, it's the truth, nothing will change my mind. And you do this, and people will say she's too rigid. She's a lady, she needs to relax. Meanwhile, when you give the word to this same man, they can't do it. I remember when I sent my chairman that message, he was like, when you leave, who will do it? And I asked him, God forbid, if tomorrow I sleep and I don't wake up, won't women football in Western region continue? Continue their thing.
Mm.
So sometimes the men, yes, a little pat on our shoulder won't spoil anything. And we have a responsibility responsible men. We have some responsible men out there who would give you the needed encouragement. Do it. It will be well. When we started Women's Premier League, I was the only venue media officer. I decided to travel to all match venues, especially in the southern zone, to see how people react, to see everything. I remember I told them, I'm tired. I want to back out of the DMO. And the question is, who will replace me? If people value our work, certain work won't come. So my fellow ladies out there, my fellow footballers out there, a whole lot of comments will come about you. But believe in yourself. I am a woman. I know my worth. I know what I am capable of doing.
Yes.
And you would succeed.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amy. And I'd just like to chip this in. It's still Team Talk right here on Asaase 99.5 FM, and that was on the show that was the chairperson of the Western Regions Football Committee, Madam Amy Fynn-Thompson. But our guests are still on. We still have Madam Evelyn Nsiah-Asare. She is the CEO of Asaase Ladies, and this is the special International Women's Day edition of the show. And of course, these are very bold assertions that these esteemed ladies are spilling on the show today. We do deserve our recognition as women in the sports space. We do deserve the respect, the resources, and the equal emphasis on the equal representation of women in the industry. So you can kindly send us your messages and your thoughts via our WhatsApp. The number is 020000995, and we are also live on all our socials: Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, Instagram on Asaase 99.5. Also, Team Talk is live in Tamale on 99.7, in Cape Coast at 100.5 FM, and in Kumasi on 98.5 FM. So I'll be wrapping up with our guests right now, and we'll be talking about the Black Queens WAFCON preparation. So the Ghana Football Association has announced that the Black Queens, the Ghana's national senior women's national football team, will embark on a 9-day training tour in Senegal during the April FIFA international window. This crucial exercise is part of the team's preparations for the 2025 Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations, slated to take place in Morocco from July 5th to the 26th of 2025. During the training tour, the Black Queens will engage in 2 high-profile international friendly matches against Senegal's national team, the Teranga Lionesses. So I'd like to push this question to Madame Evelyn Nsiah to give us your impressions of the new coach, Kim Lars. We saw what happened in Morocco a few weeks ago. We saw how the ladies more or less struggled in that game. What are your impressions on this new coach? Do you think he can redeem the Black Queens back to victory?
He has to. He has to. I think those of us who want a lady to become a coach, not that we hate anybody, we are all singing and then looking for one thing: development of Black Queens. Black Queens being a team that can qualify us to the World Cup. You see, I traveled with the Black Queens in 2003 to US. We had a very good team, a very formidable team. I mean, our football wasn't politics that we saw. I mean, we are seeing these days. It has become politics. When you speak about things that will help the team, people perceive it in a different way. As I speak about their preparation, I can see we will do well. I saw them for so many months that they put the ball on the turf. And I saw all the departments of the football team, like the midfield, like the defense, the strikers, wingers, they were all doing their work. But I just want to plead for one thing. We don't want to hear we presented this thing and they didn't do it for us. All that we want to see is that everything that this coach will request should be given to him and his technical team, so that they will be able to develop these, our girls. You see, some years ago, the Black Queens players were basically local players. And I think it started from my time 2018 when I was a team manager for the Black Queens. That was the first time I managed to speak to the sports minister then, Honorable Kwame Siama, to bring about 10 to 11 players from outside to join the team. That was the first time. You can cross-check after this program. And from then, all our players have been from outside. I'm not saying that bringing all the players from outside isn't good, but at times, if we can give about 20% of the local players to be part of the national team so that they learn, we are talking about how we can bring some people together so that someday they can take our decision as football administrators, as players, as coaches, and the rest. We need education and training. We need mentorship and role models. And then we also need networking opportunities. So if we are able to mix the local players with the foreign players for the tournament, I think in the near future, we will get a very formidable team to play for the Black Queens. We shouldn't forget the fact that the Black Queens was the first national team to qualify Ghana to the World Cup. When Black Queens qualified to the World Cup, Black Stars were no near qualification to the World Cup. Black Stars qualified to the World Cup for the first time, I think in 2006 or so. But then we have been there. So we just want to say that women, we are also capable of minding our businesses. Giving us the opportunity, we will be able to do well.
All right.
Today being the International Women's Day, I want to take this opportunity to just plead to the president of the Ghana Football Association that he should redefine the formation of the women national teams. Yes. Go through the women national teams. They are packed with men who are doing men's team. I am not saying that they should put only women there to manage their affairs. Besides, when you come to most of the club side, they are men. Hazakes, it belongs to a man. Nana Benyine Yisan. Ampem Dakuma, a man. Joanina, a man. The men are doing so well. So if the men have invested their money in football, why do you bring men who are doing men's football in their committees? There are so many things within that status that it has to change. We have to sit down as an industry. We have to redefine. We have to reset the football so that we can all come together on the table and take it from there. There are so many people who are harboring hatred in them because they feel that where they can contribute, they are not being allowed to contribute. And I'm not saying that all of us can contribute. No, it doesn't work that way. But the people who have invested their money in women football, they also have to benefit. They also have to benefit from what they have invested in. When you go through the management committee, there are some who do not even have teams. There are some. But who should manage the women for you to pick them to go and play the national team with you? Mr. President, Your Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, I congratulate you for your elections. And I believe that women football will be in your hearts. We believe that you call us, the women who are in football, through your minister, you call us to have an engagement with you. We really want to have an engagement with you. We really want to have an engagement with your vice, Your Excellency, Madam Jane. We want to have an engagement with you. We want to invest in the game so that at least it can also create a very good economy for us. For instance, those players who are outside, if they were being managed well and they are there, are they not going to bring some of the money that they have gotten over there to invest in Ghana? It is the economy that we want to develop. Some time ago, we used to hear of one district, one factory. Is it not the one district, one factory that the women have created? Is it not the one factory, one district, one factory that we are doing? When you go to the Local Government Act, we have some money there that the district assemblies, the MMDAs are supposed to invest in the sporting activities. Are they doing it? I want to plead with the local government minister that we should put all the women national teams under the district assemblies. There are some of the players who have completed training colleges. Some have completed polytechnics. Some have completed SSCE. They can be employed so that even as much as they are helping the nation and they can also get something small from the district assembly, they are also playing their game within their district so that at least the men and women who have invested in the football will be able to do well and do well to help all of us. My dear,
Yes,
we
indeed.
are not able to pay them.
Yes.
I don't know, apart from the services, like
Yeah.
the prison service, like the police, like the army. These are people who are working with the army, so they are being paid and they have formed teams. But when you come to the traditional teams that are owned by individuals, we are dying. It will get to a point we are not going to have any women's team in Ghana because I cannot take my salary as a lecturer, as a teacher, and then I will come and invest in a Fiakobi and you don't get anything. The players will get to a point and then they will leave for the Premier Division to also get something. But once we don't have anything to pay them, they will go to Togo and they will go and play. We need players to play for national teams and we cannot get them. How many of our under 20 players are coming from international? It is basically locally based players. And whose money do you think we have to train the players with for the national team to come and pick them? They are not being fair to us. Today is International Women's Day. We are not fighting you. All that we are asking for is that give us equal opportunities, give us equal representation,
Yeah.
empower us to
Yeah.
be able to do the work and also do it well.
All
If
right.
we want to go by the affirmative action,
All
we
right.
have something that we call in it impact on sports and other sectors. So, how much is the government impacting on sports? Impacting on all disciplines like the volleyball, like the athletics, like the table tennis. Are we waiting till when it's 3 months to the tournament before we put all these athletes together? Are we monitoring their steps? What is the government doing to be able to at least to take immediate step to
All right.
remedy anything that is preventing women
So,
to be doing well in their respective environments? That
sorry.
is all that I am asking for.
I mean, thank you so much, Madam Evelyn Nsiah. Today you have made very bold assertions and pleas on the show and on this platform, and that we are hoping that these pleas will reach the appropriate platforms and that the requisite needs that women's football deserves in this country would be met. Thank you so much for your time. Then today, my producer in the studio, Echo, he's telling us women to pamper the men today, but in fact we have been holding the fort for so long. I don't think that will be necessary today. But thank you so much for your time on Team Talk today. We really do appreciate it. I'd like to move to Madam Amy Fynn-Thompson to just give us a wrap up on our discussion so far. Your final thoughts on women's football and how we can use our platform or the little resources that we have to promote the game that we love.
Well, on women's football, I think yes, we need more support, we need more encouragement because, as Madam Evelyn said, most of the clubs don't pay their players with the exception of the services, and one or two few are individual clubs. We need more support from the FA and even from FIFA, from government. Some of the countries in Africa, it's the government who is managing the football club. So the players don't get more, or the individual club owners are not restrained or treated financially. To the players themselves, I also plead with my fellow ladies. We are ladies. Most often, let's go out there to portray that we are ladies, especially in our dressing. Most people have issues with female footballers, especially in our part of the world. Some people feel when you go to US, yes, I understand them. What they eat, that's not what we are getting here. You see a player right after training, you go and find some gari and fried fish to eat. But when you go to Europe and other countries, more nutritious food. That is what we have. Your starter doesn't necessarily mean always be in knickers, always be in trousers. Let's look more feminine. That is my plea to my fellow players and all sports ladies. Let's be more feminine. If you are feminine, when you get respect. If you are feminine, yes, the tax will be there, but it won't be more as we see now. So my players, go out there with chest high. Tell yourself you can do it and you will be able to do it. Be more feminine. And after you remove the jersey, put on feminine attire and you will be nice. In football development, we please from the grassroots. Let's support grassroots sports. Let's support grassroots football because no player will come from the moon and straight away will go and play for the national team. No, you start from somewhere. The Division 1 clubs are suffering. The women Division 1 clubs, we are pleading. We are really suffering. The FA should come together to our aid. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Amy Fynn-Thompson. And of course, this has been the Women's Day edition of Team Sport. We've been talking about women's football. We've been talking about the growth of women's football in Ghana. And these are very interesting comments that she left us with. Look feminine. Look feminine. The fact that you're in football and that you're in sports doesn't necessarily mean that, you should extinguish that feminine touch that you have. So do look feminine, and of course the appropriate committees and bodies should look and empower women in football. In fact, today's theme for the International Women's Day is accelerate action, and from this mind-blowing conversation that we've had so far, you can tell indeed that action is being accelerated. Once again, my name is Alexis Laura and I am holding the fort for Team Sports today. We're going on a quick break. When we return, we'll be talking tennis on the show. We'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm Steve Vickers in Zimbabwe, and for a compelling wrap of African football, what's happening around the continent and what African players are doing overseas, listen in to Planet Sport Football Africa in Ghana on Asaase Radio 99.5 FM and nationwide, Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Your go-to show for African football on Asaase Radio nationwide.
Here are some fast facts about your kidneys. Your kidneys filter all the blood in your body every 30 minutes. Each is roughly the size of a computer mouse. They work hard to remove waste, toxins, and excess fluid. They also help control blood pressure. They stimulate production of red blood cells and keep your bones healthy. Your kidneys regulate chemicals in the blood that are essential to your life. Your kidneys need to function properly and are critical for maintaining good health. Sadly, kidney complaints are an ever-growing problem in Ghana. Don't leave it too late. Start taking care of your kidneys today. This is a public service announcement brought to you by the Asaase Foundation in collaboration with Asaase Radio and the National Health Insurance Scheme.
With an alligator, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
A new world record for Usain Bolt. Lionel Messi! Oh my goodness! Lionel Messi superhuman. Azuma.
Michael Duncan against George Owu, and Michael Duncan scores. Asaase the champions of the Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy. Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy.
I have wrestled with an alligator. I've murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
A new world record for Usain Bolt. Lionel Messi.
Oh my goodness.
Lionel Messi. Superhuman.
Michael Duncan against George Owu, and Michael Duncan scores. Asaase the champions of the Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy.
All right, so it's still team sports right here. Team talk. It's still team talk right here on Asaase Radio. I'm your host for today. My name is Alexis Laura, and I'm holding the fort for today's International Women's Day edition. So today's all about sports in women. We've had our football session, and we are diving into tennis. Now, as a layperson, if maybe you don't follow sports that much, or if you talk about tennis, the names Serena Williams, Venus Williams, they pop in. But we are actually building some tennis icons right here in Ghana. We're talking about the street tennis. So today we are celebrating International Women's Day with the Africa Tennis Connect and Dunk Grassroots. So this Saturday, 8th March, it is today, the Africa Tennis Connect is celebrating International Women's Day in a big way. In collaboration with Dunk Grassroots, Africa Tennis Connect is bringing a street tennis program. Yes, it is led by their youth volunteer community, Her Power Through Sports to Life, with Dunk's youth female leaders joining the celebration. This exciting event will combine tennis, basketball, dance sessions, and life skills activities, creating a vibrant celebration of women and girls in sports. How exciting is that? It is a powerful example of how sports can unite communities and empower the next generation. I'd like to remind you of this year's theme for the International Women's Day. It is Accelerate Action. So what are we doing as women to accelerate action in sports? What activities are we putting out there? And we will be speaking to Nsiah-Asare. She is the CEO of the Street Tennis, the Africa Tennis Connect, that is organizing the street tennis event today to commemorate International Women's Day. So she'll be talking to us. So, Madam Nsiah-Asare, can you just give us a brief about today's program? What are the objectives behind it?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. Yes, today I am right here in Agege. I wish I could turn the camera for you to see, but we're right here in Agege at Africa Tennis Connect, which is the umbrella foundation, which you have ACE in this academy in Her Power Through Sports. And Her Power Through Sports happens to be our girls peer-led community that empowers girls through sports, particularly tennis, is here and having an exchange, a sports exchange activity with youth leaders or girls youth leaders from Dunk Grassroots. And it's been amazing so far. We're still here in Agege. The program is ongoing. We've finished the tennis and basketball parts. And as I speak to you, the girls are interacting and talking about what leadership, confidence, and their various experiences as young teenagers trying to pursue sports careers, and those who just want to do sports because they want to be fit and they love the game. Yes.
Thank you. So, first of all, I'd just like to wish you a happy International Women's Day, and big ups
Thank
to you.
you.
In fact, today we are high-fiving women in sports for doing
Yes.
such a great job. And I'd just like to, give you that pat on the shoulder that you so much
Thank you.
deserve. And of course, the young girls that are being empowered through today's event, I'd just like you to, educate us on the vision. What do we see this event, and your motivation as well? Where did it all come up
Yeah.
from, and where are we going when it comes
Yeah.
to tennis in Ghana, street tennis to be specific?
Yeah. So street tennis, I would say that the goal here is to one, reinvent tennis, make it accessible to more marginalized societies, which in end can help us have more younger players that we can find talents from and train them for the national team. Hopefully, we may get new Serena Williams coming from Ghana, and hopefully, we may get more of our kids in the marginalized society being able to earn scholarships for colleges, universities all across, even from Ghana and all across the world through tennis. You know, there are so many opportunities that sports brings, especially for young kids. And I feel like just not just one part of people, or let's say privileged people, should be able to enjoy these kind of opportunities. Like if you look at Ghana, for instance, you'd realize that majority of players from the international team, although tennis is quite a niche sport and it's a privileged sport, majority of players are not coming from privileged homes. So then that is where I started asking myself the question that if we say tennis is a niche sport and it's for all the privilege, and yet our national team is not made up of the privilege, yet they're getting opportunities traveling across Africa and Europe, getting sponsorship and getting scholarships into universities and so many other opportunities and exposures. Why is it that only the kids around where you have the national stadiums or the tennis courts are the only ones who are engaging in sports? It simply means anywhere else in Accra, from Alajo, Newtown, I'm not Ashaiman, but Awoshi, all of those places, it because um hi, can you
Yes,
hear
yes,
me?
I can hear you. Please go on. I can hear
Okay,
you.
perfect. Sorry. So, all of these places, once they don't have a tennis court in that neighborhood, this simply means that they cannot play tennis. And that is so wrong because tennis can be played on every platform. We can reinvent the sport just a little bit so that we makes it accessible to people. And that's exactly what street tennis is about. It's basically reinventing the sport, making sure that we can get the fundamentals that can get us to train young talents and then get them into the spaces in tennis that they need to get into. You asked about my motivation, and I
Yes.
think one of my motivation was, I think I have two things that got me into street tennis. The first one was the fact that I noticed that there was a huge gap in tennis players and who play tennis and why they play tennis, and even the motivation behind some of our national players and why they are into the sport. And when I noticed that there was this gap, I needed to come up with a solution that would bridge this gap. And one of the major things we've been struggling with over the years is having professional players who can compete. The number of young players we have in the country nationally competing is too low. The
Mm.
competition is not that big because it's just a small number of people, either from Musu or Winneba, or some people from Ashaiman, and then a few others from Kumasi. These are the same people who've dominated the national tennis training for the longest time. And it's about time that changes. So again, what we wanted to do, for me, I needed to make sure that tennis is accessible to
Mm.
all of these people.
Mm.
Now, one of the other things that motivated me to start street tennis was actually in 2021 when I started playing. Like I got sick. I had a bit of a health issue, and it was like a mental health issue. And then relied on tennis to get me to be okay. And after that, I started asking myself, if I have tennis to count on to make sure that I have my physical and mental well-being, what about all these people growing up in Ghana in these neighborhoods who doesn't even have sports, any sport, they don't even play any sports. They are not into tennis, they're not into football, especially women, because again, it's likely that you find more women playing sports than men.
Yeah.
So I was like, we need to change this. This has to
Mm.
be different. And that was when I also wanted, again, reinventing the sport to make it accessible to people, because tennis can be played on a flat platform, literally. So you don't need a
Really?
tennis court. Yeah, you just need a space where you have a flat platform for the ball to bounce.
Okay.
And obviously, Africa Tennis Connect is coming in to provide equipment and make this process very easy on people coming from the marginalized society. So when we started in 2021, in fact, the first time we engaged, we didn't even engage with younger kids. We engaged with women. So we
Okay.
had women who were like mothers, widowers, like single mothers and all, and they were the first people who actually had that tennis experience, and they loved it. And this was a Nima. So I mean, fast forward, we knew that our goal is to get the kids to play and also make sure that we can get them opportunities through sports. But yeah, this is how the whole idea of street
Amazing.
tennis started. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Big ups to you,
Thank you.
Nashika. So, what is the turnout looking like today? Especially, I want to focus on the young girls who are coming in from, the marginalized societies. Because, I mean, personally, growing up, I've
Mm-hmm.
always heard that, okay, tennis is an elite sport. I mean, the rackets cost so much, the tennis balls
Yes.
cost so much. In fact, the tennis shoes are a different conversation.
Yeah.
So, is it that
Yeah.
you are making subsidized tennis rackets, tennis balls, tennis shoes, or these are actually quality items, but you're giving it to girls in the community for free?
So right now, again, first of all, with the turnout, because today was mainly about International Women's Day, and we're also doing an exchange, like a sports exchange, we had to engage with girls who were already in the Dan grassroots youth program.
Okay.
So they are already basketball players. So we taught them how to play tennis, and they taught our girls how to play basketball. So this is
Nice.
a invitational program, and it was a select few of the girls in their Gigi community. Now, our interactions in Newtown, on the other hand, has been amazing. Like we could literally go set up, and we're doing this with the community leaders as well. So we could go set up, and we could start with, let's say, 10 girls. Within like 30 minutes, we have a number of kids that we cannot control. In fact, too many, and everybody expressing interest and everybody
Right.
just wanting to try it out. And the amazing thing is that when they do try it out, some of them have amazing flair and skill for the sports. It's like it's unbelievable. So yeah, in terms of turnouts, and every time we've gone to the streets like Newtown, it's amazing. Now, with regards to equipment, again, I feel like if we can even reinvent the space on which we can play, then for now we can play around with what kind of shoes. So if you have running shoes, whatever shoes you
Okay.
have, once your feet are protected and you're not doing the full cut movements, you're not gonna really get injuries because you're not doing full cut movements, like
Okay.
beginner training. So the girls are allowed to come in whatever footwears that they have. But we're hoping that this street tennis activity is going to attract lots of funding and also a lot of people to donate to the program, and make sure that now, as with the program goes, we can actually provide them personal rackets, we can provide them balls, we can provide them mini nets, shoes, apparel, anything,
Oh,
absolutely everything. And
awesome.
definitely it has to be quality stuff. It doesn't matter, it has to be quality stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much. So before we wrap up our conversation, I'm sure you are aware that today's theme for International Women's Day is accelerate action. What does that
Yes.
phrase mean to you, and how do you intend to accelerate action in all that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that this year's theme was is accelerate action, because what my team and I, which is her Power Through Sports, has been doing since January is accelerated action. Like we've had a lot of challenges, from funding to communication to even getting to introduce this program to the communities and all. And each and every time we are set with these challenges, we still keep going and we show up and we have successful training sessions. And that is what has led for us to even be able to have a collaboration with Dance Grassroots, because they have been doing amazing already with your organization. So they've been seeing our track record since the year started, and they're like, wow, you guys are really moving at a speed where you don't even have funding yet, you don't have this, that, and you're still doing the things that you need to do. Listen, we want to do something with you. So I mean, I think we're already on track to accelerating action, but it's also a way for me to tell young ladies and young girls and parents, and when I say parents, both mothers and fathers to girls, that it's being introducing sports into your girls' life. It's not it's a win-win situation for their health, for their growth, for their lives in general, for the peace of mind, for the mental health they get out of it. is something that nothing else can give you. So I don't know what sports you want to pick up. I'll be biased and say tennis, but listen, if you want to have tennis sessions, you can come to our academy. If you have a teenage girl who you want them to lead and be able to use their skills to support a program like this, they can come and join her power through sports, because it's a community that we build up and leadership amongst girls,
Yeah.
but also get your girls to play tennis. One of the or get your girls into sports. One of our main theme for street tennis is sports as a way of life, not privilege. In
Okay.
Ghana, we tend to not do sports as part of our life. Like, we don't grow up learning how to play sports.
Mm.
But if you look at the likes of Europe and the rest, they've dominated in so many other sports, and it's because sports and working out is right from childhood. Like,
Yeah.
the minute you're born, your mom is jogging, cycling, doing
That's
this,
true. That's true.
and that's part of your life. So the whole idea of street tennis is, how do we make sports our way of life, as in part of our culture as Africans, as Ghanaians, and so that this can have like a very good effect on ourselves, our children, and everybody else in our community. And it brings unity. Like today, I was so happy seeing the girls teach them tennis. Like, our girls teach the dance tennis, and then they teach us basketball, and everybody was laughing. It was fun, it was interactive. Both sides enjoyed that interactive
Yeah.
sessions, and like, this is exactly what community is about. This is exactly what sports does, bringing people together and making sure that they can relate with each other, share their stories, and motivate each other.
I mean, I think you have even answered the question I was just about to ask you. Just about to ask you how, sports. What do you think? Your opinions on sports, how it can impact the society or the community. But
Yeah.
just hearing you talk about togetherness, just hearing you talk about how it has brought smiles
Mm-hmm.
on the face of these young girls in the community, I feel like you have answered my question. And of course, I do have three younger sisters. They are into basketball, but I'm going to introduce them into tennis because I love the tennis fit anyway. So I'll be
Yeah.
bringing them over to your end, just see how it goes. It goes with
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely. I would
So
love that.
thank you so much, Nashika
Thank
Edwin. Thank you so much for the wonderful work that you're doing for young girls in
Thank
sports. I'd
you.
just like to wish you a happy International Women's Day once again. Give you
Thank
that
you.
big pat on your shoulder for all that you're doing for young women and young girls in sports as a whole.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me on your show on International Women's Day.
Thank you
Yep.
too. All right.
Bye.
All right, so we are still on Team Talk, and of course, we'll be looking at your messages via WhatsApp. We are live on all our socials. We'll be wrapping up shortly, but before we do, we have had quite an exciting conversation today talking about women in sports and how we have impacted or the growth of women in sports over the decades. But before we wrap up, though, I do have a couple of International Women's Day wishes. So I'd love to wish my dear mother, Amanda Daniels. She is an iconic woman. I'd love to wish her a happy International Women's Day. Just like to thank her for all that she has done for myself and my sisters. And my sisters, of course, I'd like to wish you all a happy International Women's Day. You all are icons. And I'd just like to thank all women in sport. I'd like to thank our guests for coming on and educating us. And the fight for empowering women still goes on. We will continue to accelerate action in all that we do. So a big ups and a happy International Women's Day to all women in sports across the globe that are tuned in right now. And of course, to young girls who are interested in sports, please follow your dreams, follow your passions, and you can indeed achieve them. I have been your lovely host today. I just like to thank the lovely editor and producer Echo for putting me on today's International Women's Day session. Thank you so much for having me on today, Echo. It has been an amazing privilege to grace your airwaves.
And it's been wonderful having you join us on Team Talk. In fact, the ladies invaded the studios this morning. In fact, from 11 a.m. till now. And I'm thinking we've had a good time. It's been very good conversations that we've had thus far with Evelyn Nsiah-Asare, Fynn-Thompson, and then Nashika. It's been wonderful. I mean, and eye-opening as well. Some of the things that Evelyn mentioned, some of the things that Amy mentioned, I think that those, we must pay attention to lots and lots of the things they said, and I'm sure in the coming days we'll attempt to seek reactions and responses from the appropriate authorities.
Yes, indeed.
And see how far we can go with that. And once again, I want to say happy International Women's Day to all women who are listening, and all women who've been, supporting this show, International Women's Day. And I know they adopted the campaign theme, just as you mentioned, accelerate action.
Yes.
That's in a way emphasizing the urgency of advancing gender equality and all of that. So, well, we can only wish our women all the best. But today, the women should pamper we.
I heard you
For
telling that
pamper
to Evelyn, and she didn't make a comment on that because
yeah, she ran away.
she ran away from that.
Yeah.
But today is for women. In fact, you should pamper us today.
Oh.
In fact, you should send. In fact, there should be a bouquet of roses right here in the studio for all women. So, Echo, I'm expecting my bouquet of roses right after I go off air.
No wahala.
Yes, today is all of that. Is International Men's Day. When it's your day, we'll pamper you. But
You
today,
will not even remember. You will
but
not even
today,
remember.
it's all about us. It's all about women. And I just love the fact that women in sports are coming out to voice out. And I'm just hoping, and I am hopeful for the next 5 years to see more women in sports journalism, more women in sports in the country, be it basketball, football, tennis, whatever the sports. I am hopeful to see more women representation.
Sure. Once we have a woman vice president,
Yes.
Anything is possible. Everything is
Definitely.
possible. So let's see how it goes. We just need to have the willpower to want to empower the women, and I'm sure they could do great things. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Laura, for coming, and we hope to have you more often.
Thank you so
on
much
Team
as well.
Talk. We're grateful. Right, I think the news is coming up, and then Asaase will continue with Diego. Right, thank you so much, and keep listening to Asaase 99.5.
Michael Duncan against George Owu, and Michael Duncan scores! Asaase are the champions of the Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy.
I have wrestled with an alligator. I've murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
A new world record for Usain Bolt. Lionel Messi! Oh my goodness! Lionel Messi superhuman!
Michael Duncan against George Owu, and Michael Duncan scores! Asaase are the champions of the Confederations Cup. Glorious Stars have lifted the trophy.